The dramatic slide in, as always. Let's go like this. Back this up. That'll play. All right. Make sure the chat is working. Having wonderful computer issues this morning. Welcome, welcome. Happy Thanksgiving week. A lot to get to. First, a reminder. We're going to roll through our look at tonight's game between the Rams and the Buccaneers. There's some prop bets, a lot to get to. In a moment, we're going to get to the line moves that have taken place, something new we're doing on Mondays, taking a look at the look-ahead lines from last week and comparing them to the openers just to see what the market's thinking based on what we just watched yesterday. In addition, the next stream will not be Thursday. All right, it's Thanksgiving. You don't need to be watching this. Be with family, be with loved ones, be by yourself, do whatever the hell you want to do. You don't need to watch me in a goofy shirt talking about Thanksgiving games. You'll do that on Wednesday. We're bumping the stream up to Wednesday, 2 Eastern, 11 Pacific. That's how we do it every Monday. That's how we do it every Thursday. This week, full rundown will be on Wednesday, 2 Eastern, 11 Pacific. So we'll go over all three Thanksgiving games. Yes, I'll have action on all three in some way, shape, or form. There are two college games, like Utah State, New Mexico. It's not good, but we might have action on those. And then we're also going to look at Friday's card because there are a lot of good college games on Friday. So we'll run some stuff through on that, and then we'll be back next Sunday. Recap. Wake up with positive mindsets. That is what we talked about yesterday morning. Came in, said there'd be no negativity. The focal point, Saturday night, I booked a dinner at a steakhouse for Sunday night, last night. I told myself I'm celebrating. That's the mindset. That was the mindset for the entire day, and it ended up working out. Morning run wasn't bad. Went 3-3. Because one of the picks involved, because it was like, I think it was 2-3, but one of the picks was pending. It was closing out the Packer teaser with the Chiefs who hit. So the morning session ends up going 3-3. Then we came back on to talk Raiders and Chiefs, and we nailed it. Overall, we were, I guess you could call it, if you go 3-3 for the early session, then we were 3-1 for the afternoon session, depending on where you want that closed teaser to be. So whatever, we closed the teaser with Kansas City and won that one. We had the Chiefs team total over 31.5. That hit. Derek Carr over 259.5 passing yards. That hit. Carr looks good. Carr looks good this season. The Raider defense has been the problem, but overall, this season has been a wild success for the Raiders. They are absolutely trending in the right direction, and it looks like Derek Carr is a capable quarterback again, like back in, what was the year, 15, 16? Under Del Rio when he had that big season and got him to the playoffs and then broke his leg, and then they played Houston. It was a terrible game in the wild card round. Carr's looking good. And Tyreek Hill over 76.5 receiving yards. That hit as well. We did lay the 7.5 with the Chiefs and lost. We have a pending bet. We opened a new teaser with the Chiefs, so we're going to close that tonight. More on that in a second. So if you count the Sunday morning stream is 2-3 with one pending. That means in the evening we were 4-1 with one pending. Overall, 88 wins, 114 defeats, one tie. So this record still sucks, but at least we made progress yesterday. We're trying to get it back to 500, which is exactly what we're going to do by the time we get to the Super Bowl or after the Super Bowl. One of those two right there. Either the Super Bowl will put us over or we'll be there before the Super Bowl. I'm not guaranteeing anything, but I'm confident we're going to bring it back. All right, so that's where we stand. Let's go through some line movements. I'm going to give you the look-ahead lines for Week 12, which is coming up. These are the lines that came out last week. Then the lines resurfaced last night after the action was completed. Let's see if there's anything that stands out. Houston and Detroit, first one out of the gate. That's the first three are going to be the Thanksgiving games. There was no line on that at all. There was no line for the look-ahead. I think there was concern over Stafford and some health, so we didn't get a look-ahead number. Houston's now 2.5. Laying 2.5 at Detroit. Actually, you know what? Let me make sure I bring this stuff up now. Yeah, Houston's laying 2.5 against Detroit. They win that game against the Patriots. You want Detroit as a home dog? We'll find out on Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 Pacific, when we do the next stream. Detroit jumps out at me initially. Dallas was a 1-point favorite on the look ahead against Washington. Dallas money coming in, that's up to 2.5. Both teams won this weekend. Washington probably with the lesser of the impressive victories because it was against Cincinnati, whereas Dallas went to Minnesota and won. Pittsburgh was a 2.5-point favorite over Baltimore on the look ahead. It's up to 3.5. Ravens lose to the Titans, one of the games we called right. Pittsburgh handles their business against Jacksonville, one of the games we called wrong. Baltimore announced that they had a lot of positive COVID tests last night after the game. So we don't know who yet. I haven't seen it, but players are quarantining. The game on Thursday could be messy. The line's up right now. I don't know if that means anyone wants to get invested in that. No thoughts yet. The rematch should be tough, but I mean, that Pittsburgh defense has been so good, and the Ravens stink. They've lost 3 of 4. Lamar Jackson, again, we've been talking about this for a month. Can't win big games. Can't bring his team back from behind. Do you want to give him 40 mil this offseason? The upside, you pay him now rather than in 2 years when it would cost more, so you could save some money. In addition, you make him happy, so you avoid the disgruntlement factor. And number 3, you avoid the Prescott situation in Dallas. Downside is if you pay him now, he might not be getting any better, right? You wait. You've got his 4th year coming up under contract at a reasonable price. You get the 5th-year option because he was a first-round pick, and then you also have franchise tag. I don't see what the rush is. I'd wait. I don't care if he's upset. He went from MVP and he took a step back. This is the year the Ravens are supposed to contend for a Super Bowl. They might not even make the playoffs. AFC stacked. So those are those 3 games. Other movements. Atlanta was pick hosting the Raiders. Damn, that moved in the last 20 minutes. The Raiders are now laying 3. The Raiders are now laying 3 at Atlanta. That moved in the last few hours because I wrote this down an hour ago, and it was Raiders -1. Raider money. I mean, they look good. What's Atlanta going to do? They come off the bye and get rolled yet again. Get some backup quarterback. Patriots were pick'em hosting Arizona. Arizona is now laying 2.5 at New England. No surprise. Patriots looked terrible again yesterday. Cincinnati was laying 3, hosting the Giants. That's moved 8.5. Damn, Giants are now laying 5.5 on the road. The Giants laying 5.5 on the road. But no Joe Burrow. Done for the season. Terrible injury. Awful. Such a good dude. That organization, don't Andrew Luck it. Don't stick a great quarterback behind a shit offensive line for a long time and ruin the kid. Figure it out, Cincinnati. Cleveland was laying 6 on the look-ahead line at Jacksonville. That is now up to 7. Cleveland getting it done. What can you say? They're getting it done. They're functional this year. There are no joke stories. Minnesota was laying 3.5 hosting Carolina. That is now up to, there wasn't a line. There is a line now. It is now 4.5. Remember, I guess Bridgewater is going to play in that game. Indianapolis was laying 4.5 against Tennessee. That's down to 3.5. That's interesting when you consider the fact that Indy in the marquee game yesterday beat the Packers and had an incredible second half against Green Bay. Throwing that out there. The money comes in on Tennessee. Now, Tennessee beat Baltimore. This is obviously a rematch from a couple weeks ago. Thought process has to be it's going to be very difficult to beat the same team twice in a 3-week stretch. Tennessee, Indianapolis should be a good one. Money on Tennessee early, even after Indy wins that game. Big sign there. Buffalo off the bye. They were laying 6 hosting the Chargers. They're now laying about 5.5. A little bit of Charger money early. Huge win against the Jets yesterday for the Chargers. Congratulations on holding on to pull that off. Unbelievable. Miami was laying 7 at the Jets. Still 7. It's the Jets. Could be 10. We'd probably bet it. The Saints were laying 5.5 at Denver. They're now laying 5.5 or 6. A little bit of Saints money. The Rams were laying 7 at San Francisco. Hosting San Francisco. They were laying 7. Some 6.5s out there. It's going to be a short week. This is the 5th trip to the East Coast in 10 weeks for the Rams today. They play tonight. Kansas City was laying 3 on the road at Tampa Bay. Huge matchup for Tampa Bay next week. That is now still 3. Chicago, they were 7.5 as a dog in Green Bay on the look ahead. Still 7.5. And then the Monday night game, Seattle was laying 3 at Philadelphia. It's now 5.5. Who the hell would want to bet on the Eagles at this point, right? So that's that. So some interesting moves. So like I said, we'll come back on Wednesday, 2 Eastern, 11 Pacific. We'll break down the Thanksgiving card, get some college picks in there, and we'll be back next Sunday morning to run through all this stuff. Same bat time, same bat channel, 11:30 a.m. Eastern, 8:30 a.m. Pacific. All right, tonight, Rams and Buccaneers. Should be a good one. Great primetime matchups on the Week 11 card. Seattle, Arizona, Thursday night. Sunday night gave us Raiders, Chiefs. Raiders were awesome in that game. I know they lost, but I got to give them credit. I bashed them pretty good over the years when they've deserved it. Now that they're winning and they look competent, they deserve praise as well. Gruden has done a nice job. So has Mike Mayock. Derek Carr has been fantastic. And then tonight we get Rams and Bucks. Temperature tonight, 68 degrees around kickoff. No real signs of precipitation or wind. Scheduled to be around 6 miles an hour. So right now we don't have to worry about it. Things can change in Florida. Keep your eyes on that. Injuries tonight. Buccaneers will be without tight end Tanner Hudson. Left guard Ali Marpet. Or it could be Marpe. I'm not really sure. I've heard it pronounced both ways. I'm just going to let you know I don't know, and also that I'm probably wrong. But he's a key piece tonight. Remember, blocking Aaron Donald. Be very, very cautious of that tonight. So those guys are out. For the Rams, Andrew Whitworth is out. He was injured MCL tear in last week's game against Seattle. And rest pretty much looks good to go from an injury standpoint. From a line perspective, Tampa Bay was a 3.5-point favorite on the look ahead. It got as high as Tampa minus 4.5. It is now 4 or 4.5, depending on where you look. I'm seeing both. Total on the under a little bit tonight, which is interesting. I'm not playing that. It's not one of the 4 picks, but keep your eyes out. If you want to play the under, that's the direction it seems like it's moving. Everyone loves to play overs this year. Overs were cashing like crazy for a while. It feels like a more defensive matchup. Some people I talk to like this as a defensive matchup. 2 good defenses causing problems for the opposing quarterbacks. Game moves a little bit slower than expected. Just throwing that out there. Time for some picks. Number 1, I will lay the 4 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Right out of the gate, that's what we're doing. So I don't like the spot for the Rams. I don't know what happened with the schedule, and you've heard me say this and do this rant before, but the Rams are going to the East Coast for the 5th time tonight. This is their 5th time in 10 weeks going to the East Coast. That kind of travel is absolutely insane. They're coming off a huge win against Seattle. It's not to say they can't go in and win tonight, but I don't like the spot for them, number 1. Number 2, the Whitworth injury, I think, is big going against a Tampa team that's very aggressive defensively. Jared Goff, not very mobile, much like Brady, but I will take Brady's ability to diagnose the blitz, the pressure, and get rid of the ball more than I will take Goff's ability to do that. And there are a couple other aspects here. Tampa Bay, much like the Rams, Tampa Bay top 5 total defense, turnover differential, DVOA from Football Outsiders. I don't think I'm going to necessarily give them the edge because the Ram defense has been very good as well. The Rams as well, 4-0 at home this season, have struggled on the road, and a lot of that's the travel. 2-3 straight up, 2-3 against the spread on the road. We saw them beat the Eagles in Philly, who hasn't. We saw them lose a tight one to Buffalo. We saw them lose in Miami. And then what the hell else did they do? There were others. You get the point, though. 2-3 straight up, 2-3 against the spread on the road. Now, people will focus on Aaron Donald, right? How is Brady going to account for Aaron Donald? Aaron Donald's going to destroy Brady. Remember something. Brady just a few years ago had to face Aaron Donald in the Super Bowl. And the Patriots had a great plan of attack. I was going through a lot of this morning. Donald in that Super Bowl, 0 sacks, 0 tackles for loss, 1 quarterback hit. What did they do? Number 1, when you run right at him. And there's a combination of factors here. You run right at him, and every chance you get, you put a body on him and hit him. That's one of the things the Patriots did. They were going to focus on wearing him down throughout the course of that game. He's human. He might be one of the most physically imposing humans in the history of planet Earth, but he's still human. And they would run right at him. Bodies on him, hitting him from every angle as often as possible. Wear him down through 60 minutes. That was one plan. Number 2, when it came to protection schemes, they used their tight ends and their running backs and lined them up on the edge a bunch. And they were chipping all the pass rushers, so that 2, and in some situations, 3 linemen could account for Donald. They had to account for Ndamukong Suh in that game as well. Suh's now with the Buccaneers. Wait, is he, or is he back with the Rams? Or is he with no one? Why am I blanking on that? He's been all over the place. Who's he play for now? Plays for the Bucs, right? Yeah, he's a Buccaneer. Doesn't even matter. Point is that I went back and watched some of these film breakdowns from the Super Bowl, and you would have Gronk and you would have whoever was playing running back for the Patriots chipping the pass rushers on the edge and then just kind of flaring out as a safety valve. And then you'd have 2-3 linemen banging on Donald. And then Brady, if he needed to, would check down to Gronk or the running backs, or he'd take a shot down the field. Low scoring game, but they did a nice job of limiting. I'm never going to say stopping a guy like Aaron Donald. But they did a nice job of limiting him. Brady's lived through it. Gronk's on this roster. Sue's on the roster. He played in that game. You got to figure they spent the week talking about Aaron Donald and how to try to take him out of this game. Yeah, so that was the breakdown there for that. So what I'm essentially getting at is Donald, while he has to be accounted for and could be the best player in the NFL, I think there's going to be a good plan from Tampa for him. That's why I like Tampa Bay minus the 4. They account for that and weapons galore. Now, that's going to play into bets 2 and 3, which are Chris Godwin over 58.5 receiving yards, Mike Evans under 54.5 receiving yards. So a lot of talk about Mike Evans versus Jalen Ramsey this week because we just watched Jalen Ramsey completely shut down DK Metcalf last week. Held Metcalf to 4 targets, 2 receptions, 28 yards, no touchdowns in week 10. However, I was talking to Mike Clay from ESPN this morning. That was the only time this season Ramsey has shadowed a receiver for the duration of the game. So while he locked him down, that doesn't mean he's going to be locking down Mike Evans through the entire duration of the game. Keep that in mind. However, Evans hasn't been having a huge season. He's only got the 55 receiving yards. His prop is 54.5. He's only gotten over this half the games this year, 5 of 10. He's averaging 51 yards a game this season. His target share has dropped dramatically. He was getting 9.1 targets per game last year with Winston. He's getting 6.3 per game this year with Brady. And Godwin's been hurt for a lot of the season, and Antonio Brown's only been with them for a couple games. So think about that. His numbers are down, and he's going to face Ramsey for a decent portion of the night. I'm going to play under on Mike Evans, 54.5 receiving yards. But conversely, I'm going to play Godwin over 58.5. Someone has to catch the ball. Godwin is primarily a slot receiver. You're going to see Ramsey more on the outside. And Godwin, in terms of getting to this number, has been good with this year. 4 of 6 games, he's gone over this amount. He's averaging 68 yards a game this season. He's averaging 6.8 targets per game this season, so it's been healthy. And last week, when you saw Ramsey limiting Metcalf, Tyler Lockett ended up with 9 targets, which was tied for his 3rd most this season. So the share has to go elsewhere. Brown could be the guy. I'm not necessarily going to focus on that. I'm just going to focus on Godwin. So it's Tampa minus 4. It's Godwin over 58.5 receiving yards. And then it's Mike Evans under 54.5 receiving yards. The 4th bet is closing that tease. I'm going to close it with Tampa Bay. Now, you're not supposed to tease through 0. I'll admit immediately this is not a smart tease. What I probably should do is tease it from 4 up to 10. Or if I find the 4.5, take it up to 10.5 with the Rams. I'm not doing that. I like Tampa in the game. I'm teasing it through 0. Sue me, right? I told you I like to gamble. I'm not going to follow all the professional rules every single time. I'm going to do what I want. And part of the reason why we have the losing record, let me make that clear as well. But I'm going to take it from 4 to +2. That's where it's at. I like Tampa tonight. I'm not going to bet -4 and then go the other way on the tease. I like Tampa to cover the number. I like Tampa on the tease. And those are the 2 props. So that's where we're at. Thank you for tuning in. You guys are the best. If anything else surfaces, I'll tweet it out. And if anything else comes up, Tyler Fulgham and I are doing bet today. So if you want to catch that, 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific, it's on ESPN's Facebook channel, ESPN's Twitter channel, and also on their YouTube channel, youtube.com/ESPN Sports Betting. So we'll be talking about that, some NBA stuff, some reactions to what happened this weekend, all that good stuff. Not fading the public. Nope, not fading the public. Like Tampa Bay. The Rams, look, we were on the Rams last week, and people were saying, no, Seattle. No, we were on the Rams last week, and they look really good. And now everyone's going to jump on the Rams and say they look great. Remember, we watched them go to Miami and get rolled a few weeks back. Good team, tough spot against a good team in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So that's where we're at. You guys are the best. I'm going to see you Wednesday, not Thursday. Wednesday, 2 Eastern, 11 Pacific. And remember, if you can't catch it live, just go to this channel. The video lives on. You can watch it whenever you like. Have a safe week. Have a smart week. And we'll talk Wednesday about Thanksgiving and all that good stuff.